Imagine a continent, vast and untouched, teeming with life. For most of us, when we think about the history of North America, our minds often jump to the year 1492, with the arrival of Columbus and the ships from Europe. But what if I told you that was just a tiny, recent blip in a much, much grander story? The real story of people in North America began thousands and thousands of years earlier. We're talking over 15,000 years before the first European sails appeared on the horizon. That's a timeline so immense, it's hard to even wrap our heads around it. To put it in perspective, the Great Pyramids of Egypt were built about 4,500 years ago. The first human settlements in North America predate those pyramids by more than 10,000 years. So, how did they get here? And what was life like for these pioneers? Let's rewind the clock way back to the Ice Age. Much of the world's water was locked up in massive glaciers, causing sea levels to be hundreds of feet lower than they are today. This drop in sea level uncovered a land bridge, known as Bering, connecting modern-day Siberia in Asia with Alaska in North America. It wasn't a narrow, icy path. It was a grassy subcontinent, hundreds of miles wide, following herds of large game like woolly mammoths, bison, and ancient horses. Small, resilient groups of hunter-gatherers ventured across this land bridge. They weren't setting out to discover a new continent. They were simply following their food source, step by step, into a new world. This incredible journey didn't happen all at once. It was a slow generational migration that took place over centuries, if not millennia. These were the true first Americans, the ancestors of all the Native American and First Nations peoples we know today. Once they arrived, they didn't just stop in Alaska. As the massive ice sheets that covered Canada began to melt around 16,500 years ago, ice-free corridors opened up, allowing these people to move south and east, spreading out across the entire continent. From the frozen Arctic to the sweltering deserts of the Southwest, from the dense forests of the East Coast to the plains of the heartland, they adapted and thrived. This wasn't one single group of people. Over thousands of years, they diversified into hundreds of distinct nations and cultures, each with its own unique language, spiritual beliefs, and way of life. They were brilliant innovators. They developed sophisticated agricultural techniques, domesticating plants like corn, beans, and squash, which would eventually change the diet of the entire world. They built impressive cities, like the sprawling metropolis of Cahokia, near modern-day St. Louis, which was larger than London was at the same time. Cahokia had massive earthen mounds, a complex social structure, and a population of tens of thousands. In the southwest, the ancestral Pueblones built incredible cliff dwellings, multi-story apartment complexes carved right into the rock, showcasing their amazing engineering skills. Along the northwest coast, peoples like the Haida and Tlingit developed a rich artistic tradition, creating towering totem poles and intricate carvings, supported by the bounty of the sea. Across the Great Plains, nomadic nations developed a deep, symbiotic relationship with the bison, using every part of the animal for food, clothing, shelter, and tools. This wasn't a primitive or static existence. It was a dynamic, complex tapestry of civilizations, each contributing to the rich history of the continent. They developed complex trade networks that crisscrossed North America, with goods from the Gulf of Mexico found in Canada, and materials from the Rocky Mountains found on the East Coast. They studied the stars, developed complex calendars, and created profound philosophical and spiritual systems to understand their place in the universe. So, when the first Europeans finally did arrive in the late 15th century, they didn't stumble upon an empty, virgin wilderness. They stepped into a continent that was already home to millions of people, with a history as deep and as rich as any on Earth. Understanding this 15,000-year history is crucial. It reframes our entire understanding of North America and its peoples. It reminds us that the story of this land didn't begin with a few ships from across the Atlantic, but with the brave footsteps of ancient people crossing a land bridge into a world of incredible possibility. The legacy of these first peoples is all around us, in the names of our states and rivers, in the foods we eat, and in the enduring cultures that continue to thrive today. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this journey into the deep past interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that challenge what you think you know about history. See you next time.